to welcome you all to this important session of the Generation Restoration Dialogues. Today, we are going to see an important topic. We are at a critical moment in the fight against land degradation, a challenge that is affecting over 1.3 billion people worldwide, with Global South bearing the heaviest impact. But today's theme, Lenses of Restoration, the Global South Speaks Development, is about more than the challenges. It's about recognizing the innovative, locally led solutions transforming landscapes and lives across Africa, Latin America, and Asia. We are fortunate to have three inspiring leaders whose work embodies these goals. Each will share their perspectives in a short intervention, after which we will open the floor for dialogue and Q&A. So let's start with our first speaker, Annalie. Annalie Bustos is an Argentinian scientist and ecosystem restorer with over a decade leading regeneration projects across Latin America and the Caribbean. As a co-founder of Fundación Monte Alegre and a key part of Nativas Climate Tech, Annalie bridges academia, communities, civil society, and private sectors. And her work is always anchored in justice for the Global South and deep respect for nature. Please welcome Annalie. Annalie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arti. Please let me know if you can see my presentation there.
Yes, we can.
Yes?
Can see the screen, yes.
Yes, just one moment. I need to expand this. So I think it's okay. Yeah, good. So hello, everyone. My name is Annalie. I'm from Argentina. I'm the co-founder of Monte Alegre Foundation, and also I'm the Latin America and the Caribbean representative of the GLFX Steering Committee. Today, I want to share with you and to take you to the Espinal Forest in Argentina. This is not only an ecosystem I'm studying and restoring, but also is my homeland, is the landscape where I was born and I grew up. Sorry, one moment. Sorry, this is the first one. Yes. So the project I'm working on is about the ecological and social restoration of the Espinal Forest. And to begin, as I know that many of you doesn't know what is the Espinal Forest, I wanted to introduce you to the ecosystem. Many of you are not familiar with this, but for those who are in Africa or who have visited the continent, an Espinal Forest resembles a savanna. It is a dry forest where most of the vegetation is covered with thorns, and espinal actually means thorny. So quickly, as an historical overview, the Espinal Forest once covered a wide band in central Argentina, as you can see here in this picture, and with much of their coverage in Córdoba province. But unfortunately, they are located in the flattest region of the country, where the conditions for agriculture are the best. So this map that is already outdated shows the deforestation that occurred in my province from early 1090s until this century. So as you can see, there are only small remnants as the green dots in the left on the upper left that are mostly restricted to mountain forest. The southern part of the province is fully of agriculture. So the question is, why restore here? There are 5 main reasons why we must restore the Espinal Forest. The first one is that it is an endemic ecosystem, which means that it exists only in this region of the world and nowhere else. And in other words, the species and the interactions of those species are just found here. So the second reason is that it has been transformed into agriculture with severe consequences for biodiversity, for ecosystem services, and climate resilience. And this is already being observed in severe land degradation in the province, and problems such as infertility, imbalances, and process of salinization of the land. The third reason is that society has lost the cultural roots related to this ecosystem, as the stories, the traditions, even the ways people once used the forest. And this is because at least the last two generations were born without forest in this landscape. So just growing up surrounded by agriculture and in some ways normalizing a degraded landscape. The fourth reason is that we need to prove that it is possible to conserve and restore within productive landscapes, because that's, for me, the key for the sustainability of agriculture, not just in Argentina, but also worldwide. And the fifth reason is that we need to restore this ecosystem because there are few initiatives working to protect the espinal forest. So I think that someone has to take the first step, right? So just quickly, our story, how this foundation started to work. This project began with a family farming who had a patch of forest in their farm composed of espinal forest. This is the picture of the patch. As you can see, the forest is within the agricultural matrix. And that is how I first connected with them. And by their own decision, they initiated ecological restoration tasks in these forests, including land use zoning, controlling invasive plant species, biodiversity surveys, and reforesting some areas with native trees. So as time passed, the family decided to self-declare this area as a private natural reserve called Monte Alegre Natural Reserve. Monte Alegre means happy forest in English, so keep that in mind for a few slides later. So what happened next is that we continue working at the restoration site until 2020, when two important things happened. The first one was that we joined the Global Landscapes Forum network through the Restoration Stewards program, which allowed us to structure and catapult our work and objectives moving forward. And the second one was that the pandemic arrived, and by 2021, many people wanted to spend time outdoors and reconnect with nature after so long lockdown. So we decided to open the reserve and invite people to learn about restoration, something that had almost never been done in this region of the province. So that way was that Monte Alegre Natural Reserve became our outdoor classroom. So there, different people of all ages learn by directly experiencing the forest. And related to this, I want to pause just a moment so we can reflect on a quote, a sentence that is Gary Paul-Navan sentence, because it's really related with the understanding we had while working with the people in the reserve. And is this: there will be no repair and no restoration without restoration. For me, this means that in order to create new restored landscapes outside, we first need to be able to imagine and paint those landscapes within ourselves. And that was the main work we needed in this landscape. So because of that reason, and because of the importance of ecological restoration going hand in hand with social restoration, in 2024, this project became the Monte Alegre Foundation, dedicated to restoring the espinal, the ecological and social aspect of the espinal forest in Argentina. These in the pictures are some of the wonderful people with whom I have the privilege of sharing this work. And to be honest, becoming a legal institution is really allowing us to grow and to imagine new goals. So the way we organize the structure of our work is in 3 dimensions. We say that we are adopting a bioregional approach because we plan, manage, and live in the territory while respecting its ecological, cultural, and social dimensions. And for us, the real success means not just scaling up of growing as a foundation, as an institution, but doing so together with the regional actors, because their involvement is at the heart of our vision of impact. So, towards sustainability, we are working in three aspects. The first one is the ecological aspect, all that is related with the restoration sites, with the removal of invasive exotic vegetation, sites preparation, reforestation, nursery work, biodiversity monitoring, all that is directly related with the land. Then we are working in another aspect that is the social aspect, that is related with what I've been saying before, as volunteering programs, restoration training programs, interaction with institutions like local governments, universities, businesses. And also we are doing a strong work in communication and outreach through talks, social media, and press, so that all the people in the region, also in the province, also in our country, knows what we are doing and why we are working on this. And third, and what is really a really important aspect, is the sustainability of economic sustainability of this project. So for that, we have created projects to interact with local companies. We have some individual campaigns for people to just donate little amount of money. Everything is really helpful for us. And we apply to grants and awards. We develop training projects, and also we have some products that came from the activities in the reserve. So, for example, the sale of low-value wood from invasive species removal. So, as some of our projects at 2025, well, by this year, these are some of our main projects covering the 3 areas I mentioned before. We have developed a 5-year management plan for the reserve, also an educational program with schools, partnerships with municipalities and small local governments, also with companies. We have productive projects that create local value, also for community engagement, volunteering days, and the communication program. So, and last but not least, we are always seeking to stay connected through networks and alliances with other institutions. That's a key for me, because it's a really amazing way to structure best the projects and to have an holistic perspective of the work we are doing. And related with these projects, these are some of the numbers of impact of our foundation at 2025. I have just included a few numbers showing the impact we have achieved so far, but related to the projects I mentioned earlier, we have more than 15 hectares restored. We have more than 1,000 children engaged with the schools project, 3 municipalities involved, 5 companies, company partnerships, more than 350 volunteers have been in the reserve. And in our media, through all our channels, we have more than 8,000 people reached through communication, and also, as I mentioned, institutional agreements. So once again, our vision and our goal is to continue and scale up this impact, to bring together all actors across the landscape to restore our native and beautiful spinal forest. But that component of the multi-stakeholder partnerships and work is really, really important. And as some of the next steps we have is basically dreaming big and creating waves. So I don't know if you remember, but a few slides back, I asked you to keep a phrase in mind, and it is connected to our new slogan, which is Monte Alegre will bring joy to other forests, and it is also tied to our scaling plan. Recently, we started mapping Spinal stakeholders to connect and identify all the people, institutions, NGOs, researchers, projects currently working on Spinal. This way, we can create a working group to imagine a larger project with more restoration sites. That brings me to the next point too. That we are also coordinating with some governmental programs to support farmers who still have a spinal forest on their land, and helping them to restore these areas, and at the same time creating strategies to increase connectivity between the remaining forest patches, which is something really important for the integrity of the ecosystem. And finally, we want to continue carrying out activities in the forest so that through immersive and participatory experiences, people can rediscover the beauty and the need of being interconnected with it, and to understand that the spinal is still there and that is for our benefit too. So try to push that in some ways a spiritual connection and a material connection of people of the region with the ecosystem. So just quickly here, I don't want to read everything, but if I may share some lessons that I learned through this path and through this work of create a project, create a foundation, is just be patient, be creative, keep connecting with many people that have the same purposes, and also restoration is a very truly transformative process. So it's really beautiful work to do. Here are some of our media. If you want to follow our journey, connect with us through Fundación Monte Alegre and myself directly also. And I hope I could share with you a quick overview of this project. But I think that this same situation is happening with many ecosystems around the world. So I really encourage you to start working, to start thinking, to start creating, because there are many things that happen when we move forward, when we start actions. And so, yeah, I really hope to see this replicated in many, many other places in the world, and to restore also, not also the ecological component, but also the historical and the identity of people with the native lands. I would like to end with this quote by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry: if you want to build a ship, don't assign tasks, teach people to long for the immensity of the sea. So, because for me that is also restoration is a return to our inspiration for life. So I hope this is a good end of the talk. And here are my social media in case some of you want to reach out, and I will be very happy to connect with you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Annalie. That was a brilliant presentation and a very impactful work you are doing. Next, we will be talking to Willy, who's the founder and managing director of Global Serra, a Malaysian clean tech startup transforming agriculture waste into nutrition and livelihoods for smallholder farmers. Willy's innovative settler model reduces costs by up to 45% for farmers, creates jobs, and cuts pollution, impacting over 5,000 farmers and processing more than 50,000 tons of waste since 2021. Please welcome Willy.
Hey, hi everyone. Good evening and also selamat malam. So it's meant for good evening now in Malaysia time. So again, my name is Willy. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Global Chera. We are a social enterprise based in Sabah, which is the east side of Malaysia. Just for everyone information. So we are actually what our doing is that it's a very basic thing about this slogan, turn waste into protein. We want to protect the lands in Malaysia and Southeast Asia from degradation due to landfills. And then we also want to enhance and restore the nutrition level inside the soil. So that's why we want to utilize our technology to recycle the organic waste that we collected into something valuable. And then it can be reused back to restore the soil health. So here I have been working together with quite a different organization like G20 and others, and we are continuing to build our project since 2018, and now we are in our stage that we continue to grow. So first of all, right, just for everyone information, the problem here is there is a lot of organic waste. So organic waste can come from agriculture industry, like those fruit, vegetable, and crops that cannot be sold, and then they most of the time in the farmers in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, right? They are actually choose to dispose by using landfill or even incineration. It means that to burn out everything, and then they try to dispose their waste in I would say, the traditional way. I strongly believe that this kind of environmental is not good for the environment, and it's not only just in Malaysia or Southeast Asia, but also applicable in other regions or other countries. So in Southeast Asia alone, there is 150 million tons of organic waste annually, and there is only 4.4% is recycled properly. While the remaining, like I say, they are actually disposed using landfill. And we know that using a landfill, you are not solving the problem. You are actually just put all the waste inside the land and just cover it up. So without a proper treatment, this cause the land lost their nutritions. And then especially sometime, the land have been also been planted with all different type of communities, and they also have a lot of chemical fertilizers. This has caused the lands in Malaysia and Southeast Asia have been losing out their nutrition to grow and even reduce further for their crops yield. So this is a really interesting part that we are looking at here, is that we are talking about the waste disposal methods that become the norms in agriculture industry. Landfill incineration have been widely practiced. They cause the soil degradation. They release the methanes, one of the greenhouse gas that cause the climate change and also air pollution. So we want to solve quite a few problems here, and we have our circular solution. So the very simple thing from us in Global Chara, we want to replace waste disposal by circulate solutions. So instead of disposing the waste using landfill, we want to circulate the waste into valuable items such as feed meal and fertilizers that can be used back in the agriculture industry and free from any chemical inputs. So in stage one, we collect those agri waste or organic waste. It could be come from farms or plantations. So like in Malaysia and Southeast Asia case, most of us have those agricultural waste come from like vegetable, fruits, and palm oil. Yeah. So these are the ways that have been a big issue for us, but there's not really much of a sustainable solution, and that's why we come in. So once we collect all the waste from different type of farmers, then come into our system, we're going to process it and treat them. What we mean treatment here is that we want to reduce those pollutants such as bacteria, viruses that inside the waste before we can recycle them into feed meal and fertilizers that can be used back in the industry. It seems like it's a few quite an additional step that why we want to do that, but we have a system that can help us to do so. Later we come in more on that. And once we recycle those waste into feed and fertilizers, then we can resell back into the agricultural industry. And I can tell you that is that the feed and fertilizer, especially the fertilizers part, they have been used back to for the plantation like vegetable or palm oil, is free from any chemical substances. We don't use any chemical substance. It's it's natural and it's organic, so that we can protect the soil of the health and make sure that it won't be degraded. And to get to continue to build our circular solution, we work together different stakeholders, and the most important one are the farmers and the plantation owners. That's why we have a subsidy program. They want to get them on board. So later we'll go into more on that. So these are the few things that work together as a circular economy that we will try to build in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. So looking at our technology, we actually work with the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation Malaysia back in 2018. So the ministry have been supported us since the day one, so that we actually build our whole system, which is an integrated organic waste management system supported by IoT and is fully automated. We actually built from blueprint with the support of the ministry and then to become a system here. So the system here is very simple. The concept is that we want to circulate the waste, right? So if you come, once you put all the agriculture waste or food waste or any other type of organic waste into our system, if you just flow from procedure to procedures throughout the treatment before we recycling into feed and fertilizers. Of course, during the treatment part, we are using a high-tech advancements to make sure that the waste that we want to recycle free from any pollutants, and most importantly, they don't have any harmful substance to the end user, especially to the plants or to the livestock that we have. So currently here are some of the ICT components we have. It's very crucial that we have such a technology to support us. I always believe that agriculture industry have been one of the oldest industry in the humankind history, but the application of IoT, AI is very crucial. And this is kind of lack of, especially in agritech. I'm not sure about most of the people know about agritech have been one of the startup or social enterprises that using the technology, one of the they didn't use that much or didn't apply or utilize it. So this is something that we want to let people know that technology can support us a lot, especially agriculture. So our system, we break to few different procedures, but we are using a robotic process automation. That's why we are fully automated. We don't have no need to have so many people involved. That's why we can cut down the risk or breakdown between the procedures like segregation, treatment until recycling. And then we have a temperature sensor, which is a very interesting part because the sensor here is to help us to treat the waste using the UV methods. I want to show the video, but due to time constraints, so my focus is on here to tell you how it works. So that using a UV ultraviolet system, we treat the waste, we kill off the bacteria, but on the meantime, it's very crucial to maintain the nutrition values inside the waste. That is the most crucial one because we want to recycle into valuable high nutrition feed meal and fertilizers, right? We need to make sure that we have the nutrition, but we also have lower level of bacteria that can be used in the industry. And all the procedures are controlled by the server, and we will showcase our data and information about our waste management procedures until the type of waste that we have treated and how many % of different kind of nutrition inside the waste. And then you're showing a dashboard to let us to determine the products that can sell back to the industry. Of course, it's very important go back to this area that we focus. We started in Malaysia, but we actually expand and work together with our I would say our counterpart in Philippines and Indonesia. Because do you know that in Southeast Asia alone, we have 50 million farming communities as one of the fastest growing region in the global scale. So we are growing very fast. That's why we have a lot of waste. It's not only just agriculture, but also food waste. So we want to utilize that. And frankly speaking, in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, right, like I say, it's almost 70% is still using landfill. They just find a piece of land to cover out all the waste they dispose the waste. So that's why we want to prevent that. And then currently we are focused on Southeast Asia, but of course we are still open that we can share our solution to other regions or other countries that have a lot of waste that we want to circulate and bring back the nutrition into the soil. And this is very crucial for us to do so. So currently, our female fertilizers, which is the one that we have recycled from the waste, we actually have selling not only just in the regions, but also selling to other countries, other regions, because we have received the certification from EU FDA. And this is very important because we want to not only just focus on the circular waste management, but we also want to restore the land. And always very important, go back to the source of fertilizers that we use. Especially nowadays, most of the people using fertilizers with very high chemical substances, they actually cause the land degraded. That means that the land is no longer can be used for any plantations. And this is a really critical issue, and it become trending nowadays. And that is why we want to show that our solution not only solve the waste issue, but also helping the land to restore their health. And we are providing all the different type of fertilizers or feed mill come from different type of source of waste. It could be come from fruit like banana, it could come from soya bean, coconut, and others. So those are the product we want to encourage people. We want to use a green product, a natural product that to, to plant our foods instead of, to dispose it. So this is why we have this solution that solve the waste issue, circulate the waste. On the other hand, we want to produce alternative feed mill and fertilizers or protein that is high nutrition and replace other feed mill and other fertilizers that have been with a lot of chemical substances. Currently, our impact created so far since 2021 when we started to commercialize our technology. We have treated and converted 50,000 tons of organic waste into feed mill and fertilizers. We have safeguard around safeguard the lands that can be used as a landfill or dumping site, but instead of disposing, we actually encourage them to circulate. And then the other thing is very important also, we have reduced 45% of farming costs through our subsidy program. This is a very interesting initiative we have for the past 2 years. How we do that is that for those farmers or plantation owners who give their waste to us, we're going to committed to give them back when we recycle their waste, give them back or subsidize them their feed mill and fertilizers so they can reduce their costs, because feed mill and fertilizers for either livestock farmers or plantation farmers, right, is a major cost factor. But we need them to come in. It's not easy, especially landfill have it's become a nonce in agriculture industry, and people prefer to go back to the old way to dispose their waste. When we want them to come in, we need to give something they might interested, and that's why we want to help them from the economic perspective. That's why we choose to subsidize feed mill and fertilizers for those farmers who pass their waste to us. And of course, we are reducing 10,000 tons of greenhouse gas due to we are safeguarding lands for using as a dumping site. We still have more work to do here because we are started to do focus more on helping farmers not only just refrain from using the landfill, but also the existing landfill or dumping site that we want to recycle. We want to reduce the usage or reduce the volume of waste that need to dispose from there. And of course, we have 5,000 farmers have been beneficial with our solution because they have joined our supply chain and joined our movement together. They are committed to give us their waste some is every week, some is every month, so that they don't use as a landfill to help the land to restore to help the land to refrain from using any landfill to solve the is refrain from using the land as a dumping site. So that's why this is something that we have this program to get farmers on board as they are our main target audience. So basically, this is all about us. We are Global Chera. So what we do, you can see here as a photo here, is that we want to convert agricultural waste into protein in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. And the most important thing, we also want to restore the land cell that by using alternative fertilizers that is free from any chemical substances and reduce the landfill and replace them with the circular solution so that farmers can be part of us and help to protect the the regenerative future for our planet. For everyone, feel free to to scan the QR code here to reach out to my website or my LinkedIn. I have all the updated information for everyone to understand more about us. Thank you.
Thank you, Oli. That was an amazing presentation and amazing work that you have been doing. We have really learned a lot about the technology and how much technology is helping us with making organic wastes, especially into a sustainable environment. So we are waiting for a third panelist who's encountering some issues. In the meanwhile, I will take a look at some of the Q&As that have been asked are about is the event being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, and it will be later uploaded to our YouTube account. So please take a look at our YouTube page, and you'll be seeing the recording. And one of the other key questions, so any questions you have, please drop the questions in the Q&A box, chat box. You will be able to reach us, and we will, of course, let the panelists know about your questions. And another question is about the certificates. The certificates will be automatically sent to you once the webinar is over. You don't have to register. You don't have to, send anything in. And while we wait for our panelist, maybe we can try to answer a couple of questions that has been directed. So Willie and Anli, are you guys open to answering the couple of questions now?
Yes.
Great. Okay. And so this question is from Simon, and this is for Annalie. They want to thank you for an amazing presentation, and they want to know how you integrate community development in your restoration project. As we know, people are the keystone species. And they also want you to share some tips on fundraising.
Okay, thank you, Simon, for your questions. So first, the way we engage the community, as I said before, in our case, our project is not just about the restoration of the land, it's a restoration of the memories, it's a restoration of the stories, the roots of the communities around the Espinal Forest. So I think all the engagement, in-person engagement activities are the key for us, because it's a very transformative process and journey when you are literally thinking that there is no forest around your home, around your city, and then people go there and start to plant native trees and discovering big trees, native trees also. Many people have never seen the Espinal Forest before. So I think that's for us the key activity to engage the community. Then we have all these programs that are like have a direction to schools or to municipalities or to companies, and that way we can engage all the stakeholder map in our work. And regarding funding, I completely understand because it's a big challenge for young organizations. My first advice is to see to another projects or organizations, NGOs around you, I mean, near you, in your region, your country, in your state, and see how they are managing funding, how they are raising funding, because sometimes are the same donors that are working for them can help you. And also in our case, at the beginning, we started with the basics, campaigns for individual donations, creating some products like merchandising, beautiful things that we can create and sell just to have funding. And then as we started to grow up, we then had the capacity of create and structure projects to apply to fundings, to different grants and to awards. And sometimes one thing works, like in different years we have different responses. Like sometimes is a grants year, sometimes is the donations year, and we are trying to create a pool of different sources, so we don't have to depend on one source. And the other thing is that as our vision, what the perfect scenario for us will be to have an articulation with the government, the local government, like the Cordoba province government. So there are some things like the payment for ecosystem services that exist in some countries, as Costa Rica, for example. I think that the governments create something structured to pay to people for conserve or restoring their lands. That's the best way, because it's a very integrated and is like a bottom-up action, but it's coordinated also, and it has like an umbrella and a structure at provincial and national level. So that for me the vision, and is what I expect to happen in the next upcoming years, but it's not happening now, to be honest. So then we have to manage different other ways to fund to have funds. I hope I answer properly your question, Simon. Thank you.
Thank you, Annalie. I think that was a pretty good answer especially on the fundraising. I think now we have a question that both of you could share your thoughts on, because this is from Kili, and Kili wants to know, what efforts have you realized are lacking from developing countries in managing land degradation for increased sustainability? What more can we do is what they want to do.
Okay, maybe I can take these questions. So I believe that lacking from dairy countries, I think I was categorized to three things. First is the industry, they are resistant, regardless which one you are targeting on. Like for example, I focus on agriculture industry. So they are resistant because they have their old ways, their methods that can be harmful to land degradation, but there is what they do for the long time being, right? Then the second is the enforcement was weak. Despite we have some regulation, on top, everything, there black and white, but it still cannot come back to the ground to let the people to follow. Like for my case, farmers, they know that, okay, there is a regulation, but there is no implementations. So that's why they are still using their old way to dispose their way using landfill, which cause the land degradations. And the third one are fundings. Well, if you dispose away, it's much more easier to do recycling. It's much more easier to do circulation. That's true, right? So that's why in developing countries, most of the developed countries have these three main issue. That is why the land degradation still is the critical issue now in developing countries. So that's why I would say that I believe that this question is just telling the problems, or is it I need to answer with my efforts? Just want to clarify a bit. Just now is the three challenges that I mentioned. Yeah.
Annalie, do you have anything to add to this?
No, not really, Arti. I think that's what I have to share.
Okay, and I think this is again for Willie. So this could not be exactly your area, but still. So Ahmed asks that plastic waste is a major waste, and that is one of the biggest problems we are facing, and it has a very serious effect on global warming. They want to know if there is any technology that you know of to recycle this.
Yeah. Because I have been in the circular economic field for more than 5 years, and I have peers. We are actually circulate different type of waste. So we also have technology that actually solving the plastic issue. So I know someone from there. We actually have continuous discussion. We see whether that the circular economic to solve the plastic issue, right, can be not only just limited in one country or one region, but need to expand from there. But of course, I won't go too much on detail on the technical part, because I know I doing different type of ways. But of course, we have a network. I have a networks. I say that we have discussed before that what kind of different type of ways that we can use a circular economic principle to not only just overcome the challenges that we have, like the land degradations, but also to make it to become something valuable. Because it's another word that I want to add on is that it's always that if you want to get more people to come in. You want to expand to more stakeholders. You don't only just tell people not to do what, but you need to tell people what is the other best solution, that why they want to keep up the practice they have now and adopt the new one that is more environmental friendly. Yeah, so same regardless of agricultural waste or plastic waste or food waste. This is the same thing that we are always keen on doing it.
Great. And we have a question for Annalie. So this is about what strategies have proved, most successful in engaging private sector partners in supporting, biodiversity regeneration, especially in the agricultural landscapes?
So I think there are two things there. What we have first tried was to engage local companies and businesses. We created like a project directed for them, with some training journeys, things that are related with the ESG policies in the companies. So to be honest, it's a really tricky sector, mainly when you're trying to approach the small businesses and companies around the project. Many of the big businesses and companies have like large ESG policies and frameworks, but in our case, we are surrounded by the smaller ones. So it's really tricky, but gradually they are trying to get into the work. One of the things that is working for us is connect companies with local schools. Let's say a company that is working, they're running operations in a small town. Then we approach them and we ask them support to help the school of the town to get into our schools project. And that is another way to ask them funding. For us, it's a way to concrete our objectives. And for them, it's a very close relation with the project as they are helping the kids, which is something very charismatic, as it's a very beautiful project. Sometimes we invite the companies to go to the reserve with the kids, and the day they are go to do that the visit to the land, to the reserve. And so it's like we have to be really creative, like see how we can like create motivation and sensitization of the people related restoration. Maybe it's not just ask money to restore the land. It's like, okay, you can help a school, and that's also our social restoration component. It's not the land properly. And that was the first part of the question. And the other one, Art, can you remember, please?
Yeah, so I think it was about engaging private sectors mainly. That was the main focus. So
yes, and then well, that's one part. I mean, as I said, it's tricky, it's hard, but we are on the path of doing it. And the other component of the private sector are the farmers itself. And what is happening is that as we are like trying to create awareness on the importance of having natural areas into the landscapes, because that creates climate resilience, because that created many valuable ecosystem services, the farmers are seeing the degradation of the land. So they are starting to understand that it's not just a romantic story, it's something that is really happening. The floods and the dry seasons are every year hitting the land. So it's something that we are doing our work in create awareness, but they also are seeing the effect of the degradation. And our first step is try to create projects, as I said before, to engage the farmers and to help them to create these multifunctional landscapes as they can continue producing, but also managing natural areas into the land, and to have and that way having those benefits for the production, for the commodities they are producing. And yeah, I think it's a process that is in its way, but yeah, those are like the two components for me.
Great, thank you. And we are almost on time, so I'll just take the last two questions we have. So I think this is again an open question. This is about how we can make restoration work community driven rather than, tied to short-term projects that are not sustainable at the end. This is from Helen. Both
Okay.
either of you could comment for this, yeah.
Okay. So maybe for this I would like to tag on. So for my side, right, Global Chura, we initially also started is like a small community project. So we are kind of limited to just a small numbers of farmers. When project, yes, sometimes it's short-term and then it cannot be sustainable. So that's why it's very important that how we do it is that we actually transform it into social enterprise or even a startup, so that this can be more sustainable with business model. So I would like to go back to how it works. So when we want to give solutions to our target audience, to the farmers, in my case, the farmers, they have to get used to their own practices, right? So how you need to find is the balance between the environmental sustainability that we care about, but on the other hand, is that the economic perspective. That's why I introduced the subsidy program, because farmers and plantation owners, they are our main target audience. They need to come on board, and we cannot just ask them or force them to join us, right? We need to tell them, of course, the story behind that, why we need to don't use landfill. We need to circulate the waste. But on the other hand, you need to think of what is their main intention. Because I won't say all farmers, but some farmers, the brutal fact is that environment is not their main concern. That's the brutal facts. And we need to know what is their main concern and bring them on board first. So that's why I understand that the farmers in Malaysia and in Southeast Asia, most of them, they care about is economic perspective. That is, can you help me to reduce my production costs? And that's why we subsidize feed and fertilizers, as long as they're committed to give us their waste by a certain percentage or certain volume. So that is how we can let them to come in and be more sustainable. That's number one. And number two, I believe there is a business model. It's a sustainable business model help either your organization or your association, even your social enterprise to grow. That's why once we get all the waste that be treated and recycled into feed and fertilizers, in Global Chura, we sell our product. We sell our product, not only just sell back to the farmers, but also sell to corporates. So we also can get the private sector to come in to use our products. And that's why we can have a sustainable revenue stream that to keep the business growing. So that's why I think it's very important that for now, any change makers, I think it's very important is that besides raising awareness, I think the other thing that we need to think of for like a business person, like entrepreneurs, so that we can keep our solution to grow more and magnify our impacts. So that's something I would like to share. Yeah.
I think we have a lot more questions, but unfortunately, we are almost on time. You guys are open to taking one more question, or we can finish with it?
I just want to add, for those who are asking how to join the GLF Global Landscapes for Network, they have two programs. The Restoration Stewards program is just for projects, grassroots projects that are leading by young people, and the other is the GLFX chapter, GLF chapters program, and you can get funding from them, like seed funding, but also you can join the community without receiving funding. So I advise you to explore the website of them. Now I think there are no open calls, but for 2026, you can join the community, and it's a very, very good way to be connected with other people doing the same work than you. And you can reach me if you have any other question regarding the GLF. Thank you.
Thank you, Annalie. And one last question. This is Willie. I think this is regarding waste management. So, to Willie, do you think change in laws around waste management in the private sector will make a difference? For example, if the manufacturer is made responsible for recycling, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I believe that this is something that what I mentioned earlier also in the developing country. We have the law, we have made a lot of changes. I mean, not we, but policymakers have made quite a number of law on top, but they didn't take too much of practical ways that to understand more from the down, or the people who are actually working in manufacturing or who are working in the industry related to all those ways that they contributed, right? So I think that's why, right, it's very important that we need to we need to understand that changes is law is important, of course, but we need to understand the changes not always come from the top to the down, but down also need to go to the top. So because the down, what I down mean here are those people, are the change maker, are the entrepreneurs, are the farmers who are working on the ground. They actually understand about what happened. But the policymaker, they might not understand. So that's why the changes in law should be two-way, top to down, down to top, instead of just one way. I think that's actually in most of the global south countries the law are there, it's just that it didn't implement or didn't enforce. Or maybe they are like more on too much, it's not really much of practical methods. So that's why this is something that we need to consider again.
Thank you so much. I think you have shared a lot of thoughts, and we haven't just spoken about challenges today. You guys have really shared us how to make this into a real opportunity, especially for the global south. Thank you so much, Annalie and Willie, for the amazing insights. I think people really have more questions. They will reach out, I guess. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's session and asking such impactful questions. Hope to see you all in the next month's session. It's going to be on educational training, so please do join. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye
you,
then.
everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a great day.